Hello and welcome. My name is Kathleen and I'm here as your tech coach. Tonight we're going to talk about some tools and some techniques for making sure that the titles that you are putting on your content are the best they can possibly be, because that is the key to people being able to find you. So this is a big topic. We're going to get ready to dive in 2 seconds. Hang on. Hello, for those of you who are new here, my name is Kathleen and I'm here as your tech coach. Tonight we're going to talk about how to make sure that the titles that you're creating for your content are the best they can possibly be. Why is this important? Well, that's sort of a big topic on its own. But in a nutshell, in order for people to be able to find you, you have to make sure that your content is SEO friendly, search engine optimization friendly. So what you want to make sure is that you've got the right keywords, the right phrasing, so that it will match the way people are searching for your content. Because if there is a mismatch there, you will come up still in the search results, but you will come up much lower. So by making sure that you've got the right combination of things, you can make sure that people are going to be able to find you, which is why you put in all this effort, right? You want people to find you, you want them to find your business. The trick here is when it comes to titles, it's all about making sure that the phrasing is proper and that the keywords are there. And hopefully this is not just dropping. My whole screen just went blank. Hang on a second. Okay then. Okay, no, it says that we're up. I'm just not sure why I just lost everything. We'll keep going. Maybe it'll come back. Hopefully, let me know. Throw something in the comments if you are having trouble seeing things. I think it's okay. I think it was just an illusion on my desktop. Okay, anyway, putting that aside, you want to make sure that your stuff is appropriately phrased and that the keywords are there. Now, this is easier when it comes to writing the other important pieces, right? So there's basically 3 pieces. You want your titles to be clear. You want your description to have everything in there, that the phrases, the search, the keywords, all that kind of good stuff. And you want to make sure that all of your metadata also has that in there. And you want to make sure you've got the right tags. Tags are easy, right? Because you can throw a lot of tags on there and not have to worry about it because it only has a positive impact on your stuff. When it comes to the description, you need to make sure that the text that you've got in your description straddles that line between having the keywords in there, but also being human friendly. Because if you just load it up with nothing but keywords, you're going to get rated down lower, because part of the algorithm is to make sure that it is something that a human can consume and understand. So yes, in your tags, you can go ahead and load it up. In your description, you just want to make sure you've got them in there and that you've got a clear enough explanation about what this content's going to provide so that somebody will click through. But the title, that's always the challenge for everybody, because you've got a whole lot less space to work with, right? You can't put in, a paragraph or 2. You're working with a tight space, and the number of characters that you're allowed will vary depending on the platform that you're publishing to in that particular case. But in general, as a rule of thumb, somewhere between 100 and 150 is a safe bet. But you can't load it up with too much, right? It's got to be short, to the point, but it's still got to hit all those marks. So that's where everybody struggles. And you don't want to be guessing when it comes to your titles, right? Because you're putting effort into this. You don't want to have to do it multiple times. You want to get it right the first time, or at least as close as you can get, right? We can't be perfect, but we want to try to get the most out of everything that we're doing. So that's what we're going to focus on right now. Is we're going to focus on ways and tools that you can put into your process flow to make sure that what you're putting out there is going to get the results that you're looking for. All right, so let's just start off with some of the basics, right? Before you get too far into it, we've talked before about content, title, types, right? And the different ideas. And there's all kinds of generators out there, and there's all kinds of lists. And, by the way, you can get a list here. So, if you're looking for ideas on content in general, you can come to yourtechcoach.net/content ideas. And I've got an ebook of 130 content ideas. Trust me, it'll get you through a year. Easily through a year. Once you've got your idea, once you've got your content idea in your mind, next thing you've got to do is you've got to figure out how to structure that. Now, whether you're doing blog posts, whether you're doing articles that you're putting on other sites, whether you're doing Instagram posts, whether you're just doing maybe a Facebook post, or maybe you're doing video or live streaming, you want to figure out, what the structure is going to be, come up with your outline, all that kind of stuff. Now, some people find that the process for them works better if they do their title first and then they work down from there. Other people find if they create the body of their content and then from there pull the title, that works better for them. Whichever way works for you, these tools are going to help you out. So whatever floats your boat on that, that's going to work for you just fine. So let's just say that, you've got your topic, but before you get too far into it, right, before you get too invested, you do want to get a feel for whether or not there's going to be any traction on it, right? Is anybody looking for this kind of content? Or maybe do you need to tweak it a little bit to get that kind of traffic going? So let's start off with the obvious. First thing you're going to want to do is you're going to hit your search engine, whether you're using Bing or Google, whatever, DuckDuckGo, what doesn't matter, all this will apply. So what you're going to want to do is you want to go in here and you want to go to put in your first... Okay, I don't know what that's doing. Your first ideas, right? So let's say that you do hardwood floors. So you're going to do like, let's say hardwood floor. Now you see what's happening here is you're getting already some ideas, because what's happening is the type ahead, which is what's happening here, is that's what gives you these different options that show up down here at the bottom. Where am I? This way. That way. That way. Here we go. It's so hard to get the angles right. So these things that are showing up here, this is the type ahead results. So that's what lets you select something. So this is already giving you some ideas because, maybe you were thinking about, colors and you're like, oh, stain colors, maybe that's a little more specific. But in our case, let's say that, our business is hardwood, floor installation or refinishing. So maybe you were thinking, oh, okay, maybe I'll do a video about fixing, the minor scratches that happen. So you're like, okay, well, this is, I'm getting in here. Hardwood floor, right? And then, whoops, maybe it would help if I could. And then we'll say maybe repair, right? Because that's sort of what that falls under. So this is the reason that you're doing this. You want to see up here at the top, it'll show you how many search results there are for that. Now you want to see enough here to say, yes, people are looking for it, but maybe not so many that you're never going to stand a chance of bubbling up high enough. And in this case, being up against 110 million different results means that you need to narrow it down a little bit, but at least it's a topic that is worth pursuing. So that's great. You're going to go ahead and focus on that. So that's always going to be your starting point. Do the sanity check and make sure that, yes, there are people out there looking for this kind of stuff. Then you're going to want to start to narrow it down a little bit. You're going to want to start to play with some ideas and some concepts. And the other way that you can do this too is to go just into YouTube and take the same thing that you did here and pop it in here to see what kind of results come back. And for right away, you're going to get, unfortunately this doesn't give you numbers, but it does kind of give you a feel for how many things, how many other types of content are out there for that. And you see that there's a variety. So you're like, okay, so this is working out pretty good. At this point, you can feel pretty secure that your topic is one that people are going to be interested in. So now how do you refine it? How do you nail it down so that people are going to find your content and then click through on it? And that all comes down to the title. So rather than guessing, there are tools out there that you can use to make it a little bit easier on you. And so we're going to just look at a couple of them, and then you can get a feel for what's available to you out there. So let me just switch over. So the first one that we're going to look at is tweakyourbiz.com title generator. So this is the type of thing where you can come in here and you can put in, exactly what you did before and say submit. And it should come back in a minute with some ideas. Now, maybe these work for you, maybe they don't, but if nothing else, it'll help you get a feel for the kind of thing that maybe you want to drill in on. So, we've got hardwood floor examples, what we got here, hacks, things you need to know about hardwood floors, and then it'll give you some of the better titles that might match up a little bit better with the search results that people are looking to do. But you're like, well, okay, this is not exactly what I'm looking for, but it's starting to get me down. And then you start, so it breaks it up with different ways. Here's the ones that get the best results. Here are some how-tos. So this is like, best when people are looking for something that people often search for things. When they do searches, they include the word best in the search results. So that's in the search query. So that's what this is all about. How-to are very popular, and it's a good way to go with your titles when you're doing that kind of content. How-to is always followed by questions, and questions tend to be the way people think. So when you're trying to decide if you're doing that kind of content in particular, you know, you want to kind of run through these different tools that I'm going to show you and try both. Sometimes it's better to say, you know, how do I, right? Or some mix of that, something that's more about the question that's in the person's mind, a closer mapping to that. And other times it's just about, you know, a how-to or, you know, tutorial on or that type of thing, which is still the same target area, but it's a slightly different search query that it would marry to. So you kind of have to play with that a little bit to feel what's going to work for you. And so it keeps it going down and it breaks it up in all the different ways. So that's one way to go. This is another one. Oh, they've changed it. You didn't use how to do this. Okay, well, heck with them. Here's another one. And then you can specify by category. I think you can just leave this empty. No, it does need to do a category now. Okay, so let's see. Since we're doing about floors, we'll do home and garden. And this one gives you a mix of results. Why that didn't work, I don't know. I guess that's just the way things are going to go today. Okay, I don't know why that's not working right now. Like I said, I just had a weird thing happen, so it could be that my internet just went a little wonky, and so maybe that I'm not actually getting all the way through here. Let's find out. Okay, so this one's working. So this is headlines.sharethrough.com. So when I put in that particular phrase, it tells you how many characters, how many words, it tells you what's good and bad about it, and it tells you that this one's a little bit below average. And it gives you some nice numbers to work off of to see if this is going to work or not. So let's work with this and say, okay, well, you know, I agree that this is a little bit weak, so maybe I can be a little bit more specific. So let's, instead of hardwood floor repair, let's say something like, how do I fix scratches on my hardwood floor? Okay, so now that jumped up from 30 to 60. So we're starting to nail it down a little bit, right? So it's 43 characters, it's 9 words. This is just grammarly complaining because I didn't use proper capitalization. But now you're seeing, okay, you know, it's not passive, so that's good. You know, it's positive sentiment. That's, you know, the way to go. This guy is saying bad news sales, but no. It's suggesting that you increase the line length. You know, if sometimes you can work the brand into it, sometimes you can't. You can do, but it's starting to give you some feedback, right? So it's saying average, it's saying this. So now you can say, okay, well, now that I've got that, let's go back to the other one and compare, because that's really what you're going to want to do here. Is you're going to want to play with a couple and see what kind of results you get. So we'll do this one in here. And we'll replace our more generic one with this. And it gives us some more drill down. But you see now we're starting to see some real definite patterns here. This is becoming much more clear. This is starting to feel like a better match because it's narrowed it down. The other set of results was kind of generic. Now it's okay, it's about scratches and, you know, A to Z and 50. So there's a couple of different ways to do this, and maybe one of these titles will work for you, maybe not. But instead of you struggling with ideas, you can come in here and pick a couple and try them. And then for comparison's sake, we're going to skip that one because that didn't work. We can try something like this. And this one is also going to give you some lists. So from doing this, now you can come up with maybe, you know, 2 or 3 different ones that really are clicking for you. But the trick here is, just because it clicks for you doesn't mean it's going to click for your audience, because you are a little too close to your content, right? That's why you're in the business you're in, because you're good close to your content. So what you're going to want to do next is tap into another type of tool. So the ones I'm going to show you are going to reference YouTube. But that doesn't mean that the results that they give you won't work for other things. So I just want to make sure that that's clear before we go forward. So both of these are going to mention YouTube because that's where they're getting their data from and that's what they're working with. But the answers that they give you will work across everything, because if you think about it, right, the search engines that are leading some people to YouTube for the results are also going to be using that same type of algorithm to send you to other content. So the information it gives you is valid across all of the different platforms. It just so happens that these are depending on the data that they're getting from YouTube. But if you think about it, YouTube is Google, and Google is not a bad place to get your numbers from. So let's talk about these two different tools. The first one is TubeBuddy, and it's got all kinds of features in it, and it's got a free and a paid version. But we're going to just focus tonight on the benefits that you get as far as the title helps. But if you're interested in this type of tool, it does all kinds of other things too. And the other one is vidIQ. It's the similar type of approach, but it also gives you, it'll give you really good feedback on your titles, but it also will help you track, the numbers and make suggestions and all that kind of stuff, and also has, a free and a paid version. So I just wanted to make that clear before we went too far ahead. Oh man, my system is really unhappy. I hope that this is actually working, but if not, I am getting a recording out of it, so I can always push the recording later. All right, so let me bring up, so I'm going to show you my, okay, so for my account. So you may have noticed before when we were taking a look at this, right? So there's this areas over on the right side. So when I went into YouTube and I did the searches, you saw these little things and you probably said, ooh, that's interesting. So right now I have TubeBuddy and vidIQ running together. I'm not going to leave my picture here too long because it's going to cover up a lot of the information. But so there's really two sections here. The one at the bottom, okay, with this, it starts with this little bar here and goes down. This is the TubeBuddy results. Okay, so this is off of the original search that we did for the hardwood floor repair, right? And so it's showing you not great numbers, it's giving you some idea about related searches. It's giving you some ideas about the tags that people have used for this type of thing. And then if we go back up to the top here for vidIQ, it's also giving you the same idea. So it's showing you what the competition is, what the overall score is. And 28 is not great, but it is making some suggestions about keywords and that type of thing. Now let's plug in our more detailed title and see what comes up. Oh, maybe that's why I'm having problems. Storm coming through. Okay, so if I disappear, don't worry, I'll have the recording. Assuming the power doesn't go out, and then I'll have to redo this. Okay, so now you see with this more detailed title in here, vidIQ has boosted it way up to 33, right? So we're in a good zone here. And then if we come down here, you'll see that TubeBuddy is saying, okay, we're better than before, but we could still dial this in a little bit more. And so it starts to give you some ideas, hardwood flooring, wood floor, and it starts to help you try to dial in a little bit more on how you can improve this. It also is going to give you some numbers around what it is that you're looking to get out of this. So let's pick a few things and see if we can't improve this a little bit. Whoops. Yeah, my system's really not happy. I'm going to be struggling with this a little bit. That's the way it goes. That's live streaming. You never know what's going to happen. All right. So, oh, that's interesting. It just shifted positions. Let's go back to the other one. Oh, I guess I can't. In case you're wondering, yes, this is how today is gone. It's okay. We'll still get through it. I'm just going to try to reload this so that we can get it to play nice. Hey, Jason, how you doing? Let's see. Jason's got a question, so let's find out. Do you use Star or Legendary TubeBuddy? One level is bulk options for your updates. Yeah, so I'm on the basic level right now because I've been testing TubeBuddy with vidIQ to see if one is stronger than the other for me. To be honest, why would I lie to you? I think I'm going to end up using both of them because I'm finding that sometimes one will skew a little higher than the other, and I find that when I've used that particular title for my content, it hasn't done as well as when I try to get the two of them to be a little bit closer in the results that they've come back. So sometimes I'll do a test on a title and, maybe TubeBuddy will say it's like, 55 or 60 on the scale. but vidIQ will say, yeah, you know, it's about 35 or 40. If I can get the two of those more around 50, I'm finding I'm getting a much better result than if I went with the one that said TubeBuddy was super high, but it was not so good on vidIQ. So I think going forward, I am going to stick with the two of them. My original plan had been to pick one and go with it, but I'm finding that getting the data from both of those for me gives me enough analytics to make a much better choice. Hopefully that helps. So are you using either one, Jason? I'm curious what your thoughts are on it. Okay, so while he answers, we'll flip back here. Okay, so, you know, we're here and we're at about, you know, 37. I'm just going to dig around here a little bit and see if, okay, so maybe instead of how do I fix scratches, maybe I'm going to how do I repair? Maybe that's the problem. Oops, I'm going to need a little space there. Spaces are important. There we go. Okay, so that came up at 32. So let's check the other one. And now that one's into the good range of 47. So this is something that I would go with at this point. Because the whole trick here is, again, not to spend your whole life dialing this in. I just wanted to get these two numbers a little bit closer because they were a little too far apart for my comfort zone. So the fact that one is at 32 and the other is at 47, those are close enough and they're both coming up in the good range that I would go ahead and use this. This would feel like a good match to me. But you can dial in on this. You know, there's all kinds of other things that you can look at. Here, we can even take a look at them. So it'll show you here. So this one's got the inline keywords. So this is showing you that, you know, this one, you know, got about a 98%, you know, positive, you know, feedback on this one. This one got about 86. So you can dig in and see, you know, what kind of results people were getting, can see what kind of, you know, subscribers these folks have, because these are your competition for this kind of content. You can also see right from here how old these are. So 7, 5, 6 years ago, a year ago, 4 years ago, 7 months ago. So you're seeing that there's a mix there, but there's definitely a window for some fresh content, which could be yours. This could be yours. Okay, so Jason answered. So he says, I hear really good things about vidIQ. I am liking vidIQ. I like the structure of the data that they bring back, and I find that it helps me to dial things in first. Where this tends to be the one that I try to dial in first is the vidIQ, and then I use TubeBuddy to compare. So that's my... I get that same feeling too. So you upgrade from Star to Legendary on TubeBuddy. So are you finding that you're getting extra from that? Like, is that something maybe I should consider looking at? Because you're doing. Are you still doing your lives? I'm not getting notifications from Facebook so much these days, so I haven't been catching everything. So have you shifted over to doing just recorded videos, or are you still doing the mix with the live and the recorded? And if so, is that where you're getting the extra benefit from Legendary on TubeBuddy? Because that's about like the bulk stuff, right? I'm just curious. See, Jake, this is what we do here. We share information, right? We're all having slightly different experiences, so we throw ideas around, and Jason is a great partner at all that. So we'll give him a chance to answer. So yeah, so this has got, you know, some other details in it. Sorry, let me bring that back up. So that you can dial in on. I really like the keywords that it's giving. You can also dial in according to your area. So I'm in the US, so that's what I'm focusing on, but it does mix in the worldwide, but you can dial it in. So if you're in Canada or someplace else, you can do it. You can adjust it by language, which I find very helpful. These are just overall trending videos. This is just to help trigger ideas if that's what you came here for. This one also gives you some details. Now the nice thing, you know, vidIQ is very strong. One of the things I find very helpful in TubeBuddy is the weighted. So when you click on here, it'll give you weighted results, which means when you go in and you set up your account, you can pick like other providers of content that are similar to yours or whatever. So you can get your unweighted numbers and you can get your weighted numbers. Okay, so maybe this is, well, see, this is because my account is not set up for hardwood floor maintenance or hardwood floor services, so this is going to come up poor for me because that's not my area. But if you were in that kind of a category, then, you know, it would give you the weighted value against the other people out there who are doing content similar to yours. That's why it's coming up that way. So we'll go back to unweighted because That's not my line of business. But it also breaks it out a little bit, right? So it's telling you that, that's a tooltip that won't go away. So it's telling you that the optimization strength on it is very, very good. The unweighted, what this means is the competition. So how many other people are out there doing this kind of content? It's in the mid-range, which is fine for me. And then the search volume is fair because this is sort of a very specific type thing, right? I mean, people who have carpeted floors are never going to search for how to repair my hardwood floors, which is completely logical. It also will tell you what are the most often used tags for this kind of content. So, maybe you hadn't thought about using DIY, so maybe you're going to add that in there. Maybe you'll throw in home repair. So you can compare this against your list of keywords and tags to see if maybe there's something in here that you're not using that you can go ahead and benefit from. And then it gives you some other information, and it gives you some nice little shortcuts for copying things so that you can use them in your tools and whatever. But it does give you a lot of flexibility that way. Okay, so let's see. Jason has said, I figured out a way to repurpose my blog posts into recorded videos. I'm still going to do live videos. See, and that's perfect. That's exactly what we've been talking about the past few weeks. You can take a topic, right, and you can then repurpose it in all the different places that you're putting out content. So you don't have to feel like your blog post needs to be different from your recorded videos, which needs to be different from your lives or your Instagrams. You can wrap all of those together under the umbrella of one content type and maybe, focus in a little bit on more detail, on one area and maybe go a little bit more broad on the other, however you choose to do it. But there's a lot of flexibility that comes from sharing that content across all of your different ones. So A+ gold star, Jason. That's perfect. I love that. So that's he's doing all the nice combination of everything, and there's different ways to do that. Some people, start off, and they write their blog post, and maybe they turn that into the live video, and then they use that as content for their live streaming. Or some people take their live streaming and then break that up into smaller recorded videos that they tie into blog posts. There's so many different ways to do it, and there is no right or wrong. It's just what works for you. But the idea is to get as much mileage out of your content as you possibly can, and that's what we've been talking about here. So just to refresh, the first thing you're going to want to do when you go to do your search is you're going to want to start off by just doing a sanity check on your search engine of choice, just to see what kind of numbers come back. So we started off with hardwood floor repair, right? But if you had started off with this, so that had 110 million. So this got it down to 39 million. So that starts to feel like, okay, that tells you, yes, this is content that people are looking for. Yes, there's a need for this, and it starts to feel like this is a pretty good match of the terms that you're going to put in your title to the way people are going to be searching for it, because that is key. After that, you can go do the similar thing on YouTube to kind of get the feel for it. If you're still feeling like you're not having a lot of success dialing it in, don't stress over it. Don't feel like you've got to do all this yourself. Go to one of the many title generators out there. I'll put the ones that worked in the blog, in the post for the live streams here. So this one, Tweak Your Biz, that came back with some good stuff. This one we were annoyed with, that goes away. This one failed, maybe that doesn't work anymore. So we'll do headlines share through. So actually, we're going to try this one. Let's just try tweaking this. So we're at 60. If we do repair here, how does that come back? Yeah, okay, looks like it came back about the same. Oh, but the engagement went up, I think. So that's good. So that's another one. And then there's another one called titlegenerator.com. And like I said, I'll put these links into the post. But you don't have to feel like you're out there, on your own. You can use these kinds of tools to help you come up with the text for your titles. And then you can go ahead and go into, and did I just shut that down? You can go into using one of the tools that we were just looking at. Here, we can do it this way. Seriously. Boy, the world is just fighting back today. Okay, whatever. We'll do it this way. So you can go to TubeBuddy. And the nice thing is you can test it out for free. And the same thing for vidIQ. And these links are already in the posts, so you can go and get those there. But you can start off with both of these. Oh, it would help if I would show you. Sorry. So you can start off with both of these and give them a run, and then if you feel like one or both of them works for you, you can choose to sign up for the plan, or you can keep using them for free. They do not limit you at all on using them for free. So if you want to use them for free forever, that's totally fine. But if you do want some of that extra benefit, like Jason was talking about with like bulk uploads and that type of thing, if you want a little bit more drill down, you can do that. Actually, I mean, maybe I can, hang on, I can log in real quick and I can just show you what you get for it. Sign in. Yes and yes. Oh wow, I don't know if you can hear that. We got a heck of a storm blowing. No wonder everything went wonky on me. We probably had enough of a power drop for that to happen. And I will log into vidIQ just so you can kind of see what kind of information you get when you're set up. Now both of these, like I said, I do have the paid account, so I do get a little bit more, but you know, you still get very useful information from the basics. Okay, so let me switch over again. So this is vidIQ, so you can choose the different windows, and it gives you an idea for how many things, you know, you went up and how you compare it against others. You can see how many subscribers you got, how many comments you got. So it does help you as far as your overall tracking. You can see what got, you know, the best results. And there's a lot of drill down available inside of this. And the same thing over here. Let's look at the health report. I think I get that for this, yes. So you can go in here and you can take a look and see, you know, well, how have your numbers been and what was your best and your subscribers and all that kind of good stuff. How many comments, how many shares came through. So in addition to helping you with your titles and your SEO and all that kind of stuff, these tools can also provide you additional information that will help you build your titles and your descriptions and your tags to make your content more findable, which is what this is all about. That's what the game is here, right? We've all got to figure out how to get more people looking at our stuff. So that's hopefully going to be very helpful for you. I apologize for the little glitches that came up, but they, you know, that's what happens with live. It's the real world. Things don't always go as smoothly as we like, but we got through it, and that's the important thing. I do want to remind you that if you are struggling just to come up with content ideas, because these things we talked about come up are the steps you're going to do after you come up with the content idea that you want to work on. So you can go ahead to yourtechcoach.net/content ideas, sign up for the mailing list, and get a free copy of my 130 ideas for your content. Again, trying to help, trying to make it easier. Sometimes when you're staring at that blank piece of paper, your brain locks up. So it kind of helps sometimes to have a list in front of you, and you just let your eyes scan through it, and all of a sudden you're like, hey, you know what? That will work. It looks like Mr. Xander is over on Mixer. So I do the show every Thursday on Facebook, on YouTube. I used to do it on Periscope, but now I've been trying it over on Mixer. So hi, Mr. Xander. Thanks so much for swinging by. I appreciate that. Hopefully there's something useful here. And that's the nice thing about this is this content works whether you are a streamer, whether you are a store, whether you are online, maybe you're a contractor, maybe you're in the services industry. All of these things matter to all of us because it is all about how to make sure that people can find you, whether they're your customers or your clients or your audience in general, however you look at it. All of these things will help you build all of that out for you. So I think we're going to wrap this up because the storm is getting worse. Thank you so much. If you do have any questions, comments, if you have ideas that you want to share, you can feel free to reach out. You know, if you've got a topic you want me to cover, go to yourtechcoach.net. You can also reach me on Twitter at your_techcoach. All right. Thank you so much for muddling through this one with me. I will be back here next week, same time, same place, and same channels. Until then, go on, get out there, get your stuff done, and we will talk again soon. Bye.